Former President Trump, he will also be back in Pennsylvania later today, making his first campaign appearance in the suburbs of Philadelphia. But his fourth visit to the state in just the past 2 weeks. Suburbs are home to the largest number of voters in Pennsylvania. And while these counties went overwhelmingly for Biden 4 years ago, they also provided Trump with his second largest vote haul in the state. Let's bring in NewsNation's Caitlin Becker, who is live for us in Oaks, Pennsylvania. And Caitlin, the former president really needs and wants those 19 electoral votes.
He absolutely does. I mean, both campaigns do, Nichole. It's impossible to overstate just how crucial winning Pennsylvania is going to be to ultimately whoever ends up in the White House come January when Biden is out of office. Now, here in Oaks, we're in Montgomery County. As you mentioned, we're right outside of Philadelphia. These are suburbs. It's a really crucial county. It went for Biden, but it is one that Trump certainly hopes to win. Now, he has a town hall here scheduled for later tonight, and you can see behind me, people have already lined up. They've been lining up from this morning. We're expecting him to hit on, of course, the issues that are most important to these Pennsylvania voters. And according to polls, they are, of course, the economy, immigration, and abortion rights. But as we saw at the top of the show, when you were looking at those latest poll numbers from Decision Desk HQ, it's a razor's edge out here in Pennsylvania. So what is going to be the tipping point for these voters kind of remains to be seen. Now, this is a town hall event that we're going to see later tonight. So it's going to be a chance for the former president to connect with these constituents and with these voters directly and answer their questions. I do have to say, the last time he held a similar event in Scranton, it turned into more of a Trump campaign rally than necessarily a town hall. And when we think of a town hall, we think of a sort of third-party moderator. That's not really what's going to happen here. These are going to be questions from his base. That's who's lined up behind me right here, Nichole. So he doesn't really have to convince these people that he needs their vote. I mean, he already has them. So it's how is the Trump campaign going to shave off those margins here in Pennsylvania? And we're seeing an increase in Republican voter registration here in PA, and not necessarily a decrease in Democratic registration, which we are seeing as well, but it's more like we're finding more of those independents. And independent registrants aren't voting for independent candidates. They're going for the issues and what's important to them. So speaking to those people, Nichole, will be crucial.
Absolutely. And Caitlin, we heard in Kelly Meyer's report, she referenced Senator John Fetterman. He was on the Hill this weekend with Chris Stirewalt. What was his warning to Democrats when it comes to the richest man in the world?
Of course, Nichole, we're talking about Elon Musk there. Elon Musk has been supportive of former President Donald Trump, both financially pouring money into his campaign through a super PAC, but also standing really shoulder to shoulder with him at events. And that's not something you often see when you're getting these big endorsements from big names. They give their money, they throw their power behind it, but they're not really going door to door, which is something Elon Musk said he would do. So I want you to take a look at how John Fetterman is warning Democrats, really telling them to take this seriously.
Most endorsements don't count for much in this business, but Musk is incredibly popular, and he has an appeal to a demographic that Democrats have been struggle with. And to some people, that they see him as that's Tony Stark. He's the world's richest man, and he's undeniably a brilliant guy. So I think that is a situation for Democrats we would have to acknowledge.
You're getting a hold of that demographic that John Fetterman is referring to is something the Trump campaign is really trying to do, and perhaps they can do that with the help of someone like Elon Musk. They really want to go after those white working class voters, particularly here in Montgomery County where I am at. So I expect that's something that he's going to try to do today at this town hall event. The energy is really high here, so you know when those things happen, Donald Trump can kind of go off script sometimes. So it's a question of whether or not he's going to stay on message to try to target those voters that he really, really needs. And that is what is going to make the difference here in Pennsylvania in just under 4 weeks.
All right, Caitlin Becker live for us there in Pennsylvania. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.